Andrea, you also wrote an op-ed as part of this package, and the headline on the piece that you wrote is "Women and girls must be at the center of reimagining safety." Why is that?
Well, much of the focus on criminal justice reform has been centered on prisons and reimagining prisons. This has left off the table the necessary dialogue of how we need to invest deeply in communities that for decades have just not had the resources to address poverty, joblessness, addiction, struggling school systems, the lack of housing. Women have been at the forefront in these communities, in our communities, in predominantly Black and brown communities, in caring for our loved ones and being the services that have not been invested in. And when we reimagine our communities, instead of continuing the trajectory of reimagining prisons, it requires us to focus on women. It requires us to center women. This is something that we were privileged to work on under President Obama's administration, working with Carol Mason. We were invited to the President Obama's White House with Valerie Jarrett and Carol Mason, who centered conversations around the necessity of having women leading these conversations as people in the most marginalized and forgotten about communities. Right. And also, Jonathan, if I just could add that sure. In addition to reimagining communities, we have to understand that reimagining communities also requires us to, on the back end, bring people home, repair families, bring mothers home, bring grandmothers home. A prison will never be a place for a woman or a girl to heal and advance her life. And all of these women, many of these women, hundreds of these, including our first 100 in Biden's first 100 days that we're asking for clemency for. Clemency is a tool that while we're reimagining communities, on the back end, we need to be using that executive power widely and freely to help repair the families that have been at the root of mass incarceration and disruption, familial and economic disruption in our community.
Well, in the less than 2 minutes that we have left, I'm going to go round robin to you, Andrea, first. If I were a genie and I could grant one wish, what's the one thing you would ask for from your perspective that would improve public safety?
The one wish I would have is to reimagine communities, invest significantly and deeply in those communities with participatory defense, transformative justice, and also in clemency. Clemency is a tool that returns our loved ones and our family members and helps our families to heal. Women like Michelle West, who's been in prison for 30 years, who needs to come home. Many women like that who have been gone from our communities. And clemency is one thing that I would ask in the first 100 days of the Biden administration to please release 100 women in those first 100 days. Help us to heal.
Carol?